Welcome to another edition of the Rashad Mills Show here on Awesome God Radio. Now, this is an interesting way to do the Rashad Mills Show. So I'm going to be 100% honest with everybody tuning in. I am literally at my makeshift studio in my house, holed up in the corner, bow tie and all on. But I am super excited to have everybody joining in. So Andrea Jackson is joining me tonight, the money coach. We're going to talk about COVID-19 and particularly your money, like how to maintain your sense of finances throughout this pandemic. But Andrea, let's state the obvious, right? How is it doing a show that is completely different than what we're used to doing?
I was already challenged. Now I'm extra challenged. You should see me over here trying to, okay, so how do I get this thing to stream? It's like when you get to that place that when you were younger, you used to laugh at your parents. Now it's like, how did I become that person? Like, I'm like totally lost right now. Like, I need to call my kids and be like, can you come in real quick?
Yeah.
And show me how to do this because I don't know what I'm doing.
So it's like the insurance commercial when you become your parent. So right now, I've got Facebook Live going, Tony, Carla, Starling, AJ, Katrina Anderson. Thank you so much for going on. So I got my computer working, my phone up there. So much has changed, but yet the quality of the Rashad Mills Show here on Awesome God Radio, courtesy of my dining room table, is still going to remain the same. So
how did you do that though? How did you make it go live? That's what I was trying to do.
I actually just use my phone. Kevin, thank you so much for tuning in. So I use my phone to actually put up the live, and then in addition to, working with we're doing with the StreamYard as this platform as well. So again, thank you so much for everybody that's tuned in. Good brother Darren Rogers to the Rashad Mills Show here on Awesome God Radio. Side note, courtesy of my dining room table. I'm joined by my dear friend, colleague, and the money coach, Andrea Jackson. How are you, Andrea?
I'm doing fabulous. I'm cracking up when you keep saying my dining room table.
Like literally, it's my dining room table. The show must go on. So I'm being respectful of your time. And again, thank you so much for carving out a bit of time in your schedule this evening to join me on the show. And the reason why, when I was thinking about having the next guest, right? So many things have changed in this world. Uncertainty is like the word that I think everybody has said throughout the course of probably the last 3 weeks. Probably approaching a month now, to be honest with you, because quite frankly, Andrea, we don't know, right? And it's uncertainty about health, and then right along with that, I think it's money. And when I thought about an individual who can come on a show and add value to people that are watching the show and give them some pointers, how do I handle my finances during this particular time? Nobody else came to mind other than the exception of Lisa M. Jones, yourself. So here's the first question that I want to ask you. So we're talking about health, right? And you are the money coach per America, and you deal a lot helping people get together in terms of life insurance policies, like be prepared for the inevitable. How has that been with this pandemic? And literally, you're talking to some people that they have a cold on a Monday, and the following Monday, they're no longer here. So what has it been like from a business perspective for you?
Well, in the financial services industry, at least in our organization, business is booming because it becomes more apparent. And so one thing that I just kind of rest on is even in the Word of God, it said there's nothing new under the sun. Mm-hmm. So for those people who happen to be over the age of 25, over the age of 30, if you go back to 2008, it was the same type of uncertainty, but what 2008 did was make people be more aware of their financial situation, their financial being. The difference in this space is that people are dying. And so because people are dying, I want you to people have to realize, I will sit with people and they would say, well, I have it on my job. Well, I have life insurance at my job. Well, in a matter of 1 week, 6 million people have become unemployed.
Wow.
So their job, their benefits are still there. And so it just became evident, and people, you know what, I need to get this straight at home. And so, like I said, business is in a good place because people realize this is something that I need to do now, not later.
So to that end, do you feel that for a lot of people that this was much needed? And I know that sounds like a very harsh feel to it, but much needed to get them to a place that it galvanizes them to literally think about life insurance. Maybe prior to the coronavirus, this pandemic, I never had life insurance. I never thought that, I would need life insurance, even that we know that death is inevitable. Do you think that this has really forced a lot of people to think about savings, investments, and most importantly, like life insurance, because we don't know when that day or time is coming?
Absolutely. I wish with everything in me that it would have came a different way, just if for no other reason, the massive amount of lives that have been lost. But every now and then, at least about every 10 years, a correction needs to take place.
Mm-hmm.
And people, because we get very comfortable, and I'm going to go back again to 2008. Everybody was trepidatious in 2009. They were, they're still fearful in 2010. Rough about 2013, you started looking at the post on Facebook change.
Mm-hmm.
People started going on vacation again. By 2015, they was wilding out. By 2017, buying unnecessary cars. So doing the same, just going back in the same cycle again, not being very concerned, borrowing from my 401k to do things that aren't necessary, all these things. So every 10 years, a correction takes place. And again, I wish it wasn't at this amount of loss of lives, but it is needed because every 10 years, a new decade of people reach a different space in their financial picture. And so it is needed because people have to start thinking about, one of the sayings that I really do not like is YOLO. YOLO drives me crazy. Like people just
you only live
stuff,
once.
but it's like you only live once. No, you live every day. But if you take on a mindset of I only live once, you do things recklessly, and you don't think about, oh my God, what if I live to be 90? What happens then? And so right now, the amount of energy, time, and of what people are thinking about what is going on with my money is needed. Because at the end of the day, they want to make sure, if I pass away, I die in decency and order. And if I live, I want to live in decency and order. So both things need to be taken care of.
Absolutely. So I just want to check in with some people that's chiming in via my Facebook Live. Tony says, this is why residual income is a must. Absolutely, Tony. And we'll get to that point. My good brother Adam, my sister Nana, thank you so much for checking into the Rashad Mills Show. Good brother Tony Clayton. What's up, Tony? He's checking into the Rashad Mills Show as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I guess I'll start at the most obvious place, right? And we're talking about the coronavirus, this pandemic, in terms of affecting people and their finances. Let's talk about this stimulus package, right? $2 trillion, emergency relief packet. I guess it's so big I couldn't even spit the words out because I can't even begin to fathom that number. So we're talking about $2 trillion, right? So if an individual makes $75,000 or less, then it looks like a $1,200 check will be coming their way, $500 for a child. Andrea, if you can share with me publicly what you shared with me privately about this stimulus package that I thought was just mind-blowing. I never thought about it that way.
Well, people pay attention to what it's called. It's called a stimulus package.
Mm-hmm.
It's not called a pay your bills package. And so they're hopeful that people will stimulate the economy. Understand this, what's going on is I tell people it's kind of like what happens after an earthquake. You have this reverberating effect. So you have a core center, but then things happen and it just keeps going and it gets bigger and bigger. So it started out as a health epidemic, but then it turned into a financial epidemic, and then it turns into a crisis, then it just keeps going. So what do we need to do? And I know people don't like to hear the guy who lives in the White House, they don't like to hear him talk about the economy, but the reality is this is going to affect the economy. So what do I need to do? I need to stimulate it. I need to get people spending money. I need to get them back in the mindset of spending money. Why? Because if they spend money, they'll get in debt. If they get in debt, they'll keep whatever job or go try to get another job. And then they will pay W-2 income, taxes on the front end, because that's how politicians, government, that's how they make their money, from the taxes on the front end, not the people like myself who pay taxes on the back end. So they want to make sure that we got to get things moving again. People thought it was ridiculous when he said, I want to get people back to church at Easter. It had nothing to do with Easter. What happens at Easter? People buy clothes, they spend money on food, they're going out. So if I can get them back in church by Easter, they'll be going to restaurants, they'll be buying clothes and buying shoes and buying Easter stuff and buying Easter eggs and baskets. Think about it. Nobody's thinking about no Easter baskets. That is the last. Ain't nobody at the store buying Easter baskets. But if I can get people out there buying, it stimulates the economy. And so I've been talking to my clients about making wise decisions with the money. Don't fall for okie doke.
What is the okie doke?
The okie doke is you can forbear your mortgage. You don't have to pay your mortgage. Now let me put this disclaimer out. If you have lost your job and you have a loss of income and you're struggling, of course you do what you need to be able to pay your bills. But if everything is fine and you have, because many people haven't lost their jobs and you're working, do not fall for, I'm going to forbear my mortgage. Do you understand they're going to continue to charge you interest and put that thing on the back end? And so it's going to continue to accrue interest. And then even when they get down to, when they started talking about stopping the payments for the student loans, the very first thing I look for, are you stopping the interest accumulating? How about that? Notice, I haven't heard. Now, maybe I'll be the first to say I don't know everything, so maybe they did say it. But I ain't heard the IRS say they're going to stop their payments yet. So I ain't heard that if you owe the IRS, you ain't got to pay them. I ain't heard that yet. And their interest accumulates daily for the state at 12% and for feds at 5%. Oh, they killing people with IRS owing, but I ain't heard nothing but we will extend the amount, y'all can file to June. We still going to get our money. And so even when they drop the interest rates down to 0. So people, I got calls that next day. Well, Andrea, you think I should refinance my mortgage? You think I should refinance my car? Are you going to do it for the same amount of time that you have left now? If it's going to benefit you, yes, but not just to do it because the interest rates drop. Maybe I could save a few dollars, but banks make money off of interest. So if I can drag you back out 30 years, I promise you that 0% or that 1% is an introductory rate. They would not make money if they kept it there. So I tell people this, and I will stand behind it to the day I die. The big print giveth, and the small print taketh away. Therefore, you got to be reading the small print of whatever you decide to sign, but be very mindful. If you do nothing else, take half of your stimulus package. If you feel like I got to go shopping, I got to go on a trip, I've been cooped up in the house, I got to spend this money, at least take half that money and put it in a savings. Because we don't know how long this is going, if not a third, not 2/3 of it. We don't know how long this is going to last. And just because, this person lost their job this week, it doesn't mean that you won't lose your job next week. And then you'll be looking at your 60-inch TV, wishing that, however big them TVs be, wishing that you would have put some money aside and not bought a bunch of television and food and things that I could consume. And so let me get off my soapbox. But yeah, that's a pet peeve of mine.
Actually, that's a great point, and it looks like Samara Nicole watching the Rashad Mills Show here on Facebook Live. She had a great question, and she said, "What about people who are not eligible for the stimulus?"
Well, they're making amends for that. Oh! She's referring to the income people, I think. So.
Okay, so Samaria, if you can give me a little more clarification so I can ask that question to Andrea. So just give me a little more clarification.
I think she's referring to the people that are above the income.
Okay, so while she does that, I think it bears repeating what you just said, that if you are eligible to continue the process of paying your bills in a timely manner and it's not going to set you back, continue to do so. I think that's the biggest thing that I heard from you.
Absolutely. Just continue to do what you're doing so you don't look up a year from now and wish you had. And so, because it didn't, just like when the furlough happened, folks was taking out loans for the furlough. I met this lady, said she took out a loan that covered 6 months of her pay for the furlough, and she was back to work in 2 weeks. But she owed that loan for 2 years. That doesn't make any sense just because you wanted a bunch of money to go travel. It's not like she used it for stuff. So, again, just make wise decisions. And that's when, you have a money coach. You call somebody like me, we sit down and we show you how can we best utilize this money? How can we best make sure that you come out on a good end? And I'm not referring to those who have lost their jobs, and this is something that's going to, in that particular case, suck that money away. Use it, take advantage of the programs that they have available for people right now. Definitely use it, but understand this is the reason why an emergency account is so important. You should have 3 to 6 months of your income that you should be steadily putting away on a regular basis for emergencies like this. that you can control, not waiting for the government to cut you a check.
So here's a question for you, Andrea, and I know a lot of people that are actually watching the show have this question in mind, and I want to present it to you. I know that there's some people that are saying, should I take my money if I have them in, if I have investments with Andrea, right? What are the pros and cons of potentially, I guess, quote unquote, cashing out those investments or leaving them as they are at this current moment?
Okay, well, let me put this first thing out there that I tell all my clients that ask and call me. You do not get financial advice from the media. The purpose of the media is to invoke fear and to entertain. It's nothing else. It is not to educate you. It is not to inform you. It is clickbait. It wants you to come back and look at their channel. And so I'm going to scare you into doing things. You get financial advice from financial people who work in the financial field like myself. And so what I've been telling my clients is that hold tight. I know it looks ugly, but whether it's your 401k, your 403b, your 457, any type of mutual fund environment, what you should be watching is your shares, not your value, because your shares are going up, even though your values are going down. The market has existed since the early 1930s. It has never failed. This is not the first time. This may be the first health crisis that we had, and it's not. Let me back it up. There have been other ones. People have been posting about something that happened in the 20s, and then something else I think that happened in like the 50s or the 60s. So this is not the first time that we've seen a health crisis that killed a lot of people. That happened since the 30s. So that means the market has still existed through every health crisis, through every recession, through every war. And so it goes up and down because the stock market is backed up by corporations, and corporations are ran by people. And people are fickle and they're emotional, and they respond to what's happening. So because of that, like people saw Warren Buffett, I saw this posted today that he dumped all these airline shares. And so then they're like, oh my God, what's going on with that? Because he may know something, who knows? But this is what I know. He's a billionaire 15 times over. Hold tight with your 100 shares. Just be straight. And so at this time, I tell people, leave it alone. Let it do what it does, because it always recovers. It's never not recovered. And so because what you'll do is, you'll regret taking your money out, because right now it's not a realized loss. It's just a loss that, you looking at and saying, oh my God, I lost some money. But it's not a realized loss until you actually remove it out of that account and stick it somewhere where you cannot recover that. Now it's a realized loss. And it's going to take you longer if you put it in a bond fund, longer if you put it in a bank. Notice, you ain't heard Ned Bank talk about they take their money out of investments. No, they're not. Because it's buy low, sell high. It's never sell low. Oh my God, it's low, sell everything. Oh, you should be dumping more money in, finding, because everything is on sale. Folks don't even realize how much stock cost before. It's a great time to buy what you couldn't afford before.
I think that is a great point. And I want to pause right there momentarily. A few people, one of these individuals, Andrea, you probably know. You've had some time around this great individual. She's tuning in, Lisa M. Jones. Tuning into the Rashad Mills Show here on Awesome God Radio. Ursula, thank you so much for tuning in. And I want you to respond to this comment from a good brother, Adam. He says, not only the interest, but once the emergency is over, then some mortgage companies are going to require all the rear payments, and mortgage banks / landlords will immediately start foreclosure and evictions, and people are too far behind to catch up. What do you think about that comment from Adam?
I mean, I'm not a mortgage, that's not my expert area. I wouldn't doubt it, though. One of the things that I think is a travesty just in the country as a whole, that we still teach that this is a democratic country. This country has a democratic voting system. This country is a capitalistic country. It is ran by the mighty dollar. So I would not put it past landlords. I would not put it past, mortgage companies. They've done worse. I tell people, you didn't have to, like or agree with President Obama, but there's some things that he did. And one of the things that he did was this act, and it was called the Dodd-Frank Act. And that act put regulations in place to control the financial services industry. because it can be a very special space. And so it put regulations in place to make sure that certain things couldn't happen, like going to college campuses and offering students like myself credit cards when we didn't even understand it. And so, and then, putting us in a position because we was hungry, so you can give us some pizza if we just signed for this card. And so those colleges were getting kickbacks, so they stopped that. They made credit cards reveal if you pay this minimum balance, it's going to take you, the next 30 years to pay this off. But if you just pay this, it'll be paid off in 3 years. And so it regulated the mortgage industry. It regulated the banking industry. And so that act put these regulations in place. One of the first things that this current administration tried to do was halt that act because they don't want the regulations there, because they feel like, this is a free reign space, money. And so, folks, you're right, Adam. If they have to be wise in this space, if you can afford it, if you, because what I do know is the next phase is the litigious phase. That's why so many businesses, or like larger businesses, are covering themselves. Like my father was telling me today that he received a letter from Target that said if you're over the age of 65, they will pay you for 30 days not to come to work. Well, why is that? Because you're part of the risk population. And they understand getting sick, they're going to start suing. And so how can I, mitigate that loss? And so I say that to say we have to be wise in this space. As African Americans, we cannot we can't continue down this road as normal. There's too much information out there. There's too many people like myself and the awesome Lisa M. Jones. Shout out to Lisa M. Jones. There's too many people like us around that guide you through this process for you to still make the same mistakes.
So thank you for providing so much information. I want to get back to the questions, and thank you so much for everybody that's tuning in via Facebook Live asking these very awesome questions. So here's a question. I want to go back and get to a question. My sister, Nana, dear sister, all the way from Georgia, she asked the following question. Would you advise buying stocks if you don't have any experience in it?
Well, yeah. I mean, they have a bunch of, that's what people like us are for. The first thing someone thinks of is I have to jump out there, get on an app and try to figure this out. No, you call someone like myself. I'm going to keep myself for plugs. So you call someone like myself to help out with that.
Let me cut you off for one moment. So I think this is a perfect segue to give people your number so I can make sure that information goes into via Facebook Live. Andrea Jackson, your money coach. What is your number and contact information? So before I actually send this, I can make sure people get your information. So you're dropping a lot of knowledge tonight, but I want to make sure people get connected to you.
Okay, the best way to reach me is to call me. I'm just old school. So the number that they can reach me on, I know everybody got all these platforms. Just call me. If you're crazy, I'm going to block you. So anyway, it's 301.
301.
633.
633.
8688.
301 633 8688.
Yes, so 301 633 8688.
And actually, I'm going to challenge somebody that's actually watching the Rashad Mills Show to go ahead and help me out. Put that number in the chat line. Andrea Jackson, your money coach, 301 633 8688. 301 633 8688. Be a good neighbor. I want to turn to my neighbor and say, neighbor, help me out, and actually put that number in the chat line. I would truly appreciate that. So the next question is, I want to go to actually a young lady who is near and dear to me, my aunt. She said, is this a good time to buy a car?
Actually, rates are low. And if you can afford it, your income hasn't shifted, and you have the money, rates are low. So yes, when it comes time, if I don't have one, then yes, you can get one, and you can get one for a lower interest rate. Understanding that the interest rate sets the payment. And so, but you determine the length of time that you're going to be stuck in this loan. And so it is a good time if it's something new that you want to do, because, and that goes with buying a house as well. The interest rates are low. So you take advantage of that. And so the answer to a question is yes.
Okay. So here's one of the things I did in preparation for tonight's show. I actually went online, kind of looking at different things as it relates to things that people can do right now to positively help them in terms of their finances during this pandemic, which nobody could have predicted this to happen. And one of the things was I read, revamp your budget and cut unnecessary costs. I know you do a lot of education in that regard. So I guess just give some people some information in terms of what they can do at this time to cut some unnecessary expenses.
That's so funny to me. It's like we've been forced to cut. I
mean, right, mandatory.
Right. So the money that most people waste is on food and entertainment. So whether it's cable, it's not even cable. It's food. And so I'm watching people. Just think about this. Many people are working from home, so they're saving money on gas. I swear to goodness, I just went and got some gas because it was $1.59. I was like, I will not miss $1.59 gas.
Where's that at? I'm on the way right after the show.
Man, I'm like, I'm going to get me some $1.59 gas. And so the gas lasts the whole month. I got in my car today. I can't tell you the last time I had gas in my car for 2 weeks. I was like, what the? So I got to go get some more $1.59 gas. But we're saving money just by force. So what I would say is you look at your budget and how you're spending money to be able to redirect the monies that you've been saving. And so, meaning, when I say saving, you're not spending those monies. Folks are actually having to cook. Just imagine that. And so, look, I'm talking to myself.
What a thought, right?
That. Right. But you do have people that cook every day, but there's a lot more people that don't. And they eat out. And so, so I would say one of the areas is definitely be mindful of that, because restaurants and carryouts, all those are still open. So be mindful that you're not telling yourself that you need to eat more because you're bored. And so it's really about controlling our emotions and controlling our waistline. I love to watch your, you do the Rashad Mills running your marathon preparation thing, because you talked about, I don't know if it was today, but I saw it on my page, and you were talking about make sure you continue to exercise on a daily basis. Again, we just have to be mindful of the space that we're in before we come out fat and broke. And so
and that's not a good combination, by the way. That's not a good combination, by the way.
You gotta pick a struggle. You can't have both. And so you gotta be mindful to just, watch how you're spending. Definitely revisit your budget. What am I doing? How can I redirect these monies? Maybe during this time I could put some more money. I could start an IRA, or I can put some money in my 401k, or I can now start actually saving and trying to get to that $1,000 that everybody should have to get their hands on. And so how do I redirect the forced savings that's going on right now?
So Adam chimed in. He said the CARE Act provides federal and state loans and grants to small businesses to help pay payroll for the same reason Target is paying workers to stay home. And some of the loans can be forgiven if they prove that they didn't lay off people among other requirements. So he just chimed in.
Thank you, Adam. Now, one of the things I heard from one of my clients, and I'm not sure because I don't know exactly. My mom just actually sent me that email today about they're having a webinar Thursday about what's. Oh no, that was different. They're actually providing, this is new. Mm-hmm. They're providing unemployment benefits for self-employed people. So I know they're doing a webinar about that and contractors. But in regards to those loans, they could take up to 30 to 45 days. So I think it's very funny that he said, as long as you haven't laid off. And well, how is you paying them in that 30 to 45-day period? I may have to have laid off some people. So maybe I can't get the forgiveness. But at least there are things out there. But again, I'm going to reiterate, the big print giveth, the small print taketh away. Read. Do not skim. Don't take for granted that just because because somebody says this to you, this is how it's going to do what it does. Ask questions. If you're asking questions and somebody is getting irritated at your questions and the questions matter to you, move on. Because why are you getting? I got questions. So this is my money. And so, but yeah. So thank you, Adam. Though.
Darlene, thank you so much for tuning into the Rashad Mills Show and Awesome God Radio. Katrina, thank you so much for entering Andrea's name and title in there, and then Nana as well. Thank you so much for entering that number. Again, 301-633-8688. And thank you so much for my dear brother William Bass for tuning into the Rashad Mills Show, Awesome God Radio. Andrea Jackson, your money coach, kind of giving us a lot of practical tips, tools, and strategies that we can implement literally as of right now, maybe even some of them tonight, that can help guide us and make sure that our money is not funny and that we are in the right place in terms of surviving this pandemic. So one of the things that, if nobody actually asked it in the Facebook Live, I'm going to ask it. I know that some people, like myself, I'm literally bombarded every day with sales, with airline tickets, and the prices are, I mean, like unbelievable, right? For an individual that comes to you and says, look, Andrea, this is the opportunity of a lifetime to take that trip. Like, what are your thoughts on spending your money right now because things are so low, particularly as it relates to traveling? I mean, that's a really valid, I think, question as it relates to how do we spend this money, our money, during this particular period.
I'm going to look at their particular situation.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you got to understand that everyone is not in a, I don't want to say in a bad space, but in a bad space.
Mm-hmm.
They just simply have to go home and work. They get their same 40-hour pay. They get, they're getting the same money. And so, I'm looking at what is your actual situation. No, I don't agree with you buying cheap flight tickets and you don't got $1,000 in savings. No, I don't agree with you purchasing, this trip of a lifetime and you don't have adequate life insurance coverage on your family. Because, that thing right there is just, that blew me away the other day when I came to the realization that all these people that told me I have it at the job don't have it at the job no more. And so you need to be worried about these are one of them things that as a country, we got to put our emotions to the side and think with our intelligence. Meaning low, like high emotions equal low intelligence. And so, this feels good. I want to do this because I'm going to feel good. So everything that you need to do may not feel good, but it's responsible. Because God forbid, not even if it's this pandemic, but something else, you can go outside and get hit by a car. If something else takes you off this planet, there's people who probably need your income, to be supplemented. The very first thing you need to do is make sure I got adequate life insurance in place if I don't have a bunch of money socked away somewhere. And so there's just things that come before that. And so, but it's a case-by-case situation. And so we're looking to see, have your situation change. Hey, look, if you got, an abundance of money and you're saving because you ain't eating and you ain't going nowhere and your gas is $1.59, go buy you some tickets to the vacation of a lifetime. I don't know when you're going to get to go.
So, Adam, just hang tight for 1 second. I want to read your comments. And Lisa says, Andrea, you're doing an awesome job, is which we expect that you always add value every time that we connect. And I certainly appreciate that from you. So I just want to go back to this life insurance piece that you mentioned. And I never even thought about that, right? That your life insurance is tied to a job. So now that the individual may not be employed, their whole financial landscape has changed in addition to not having a aftercare plan. That's mind-blowing to me.
Like I said, it just kind of hit me the other day when I was just, reaching out to clients and, I'm like, people don't understand the reverberating effects. Because, see, the thing is, many people file for unemployment. So you're going to have income coming in this space, but do the right things. Life insurance can cost, people think it costs so much because they have the wrong kind. One of the things I'll do for anybody who contacts me because they saw me on the Rashad Mills show, then I give you a complimentary consultation, won't cost you anything for your initial consultation, and give you an opportunity. Let's look at your financial situation. And so because things are being done virtually, this is awesome. I can meet with you if you in California.
Andrea, sorry to cut you off. Let me call a 20-second timeout as if this was a basketball game. So I want to go ahead and make sure everybody watching the Rashad Mills show here in Awesome Guard Radio, watching via this Facebook feed, I want to make sure you heard what Andrea Jackson, your money coach, said loud and clear. If you are watching this show, go ahead and say, Andrea, I heard what you talked about on the Rashad Mills show. I understand how you can add value to my financial life and receive a free consultation. So again, that number, I want to say it again until it's almost like tattooed on your brain, 301-633-8688, 301-633-8688. And I want to read this comment. Adam says the layoffs have to be proved after the loan has been approved. They can't lay off after that, but if they do, it's just a loan to pay back. If they don't lay off, the loan can be forgiven. Dontrell Jones, thank you so much for tuning in. Monica, Darlene says she is blessed by listening to all the information. So I want to go ahead and throw another alley-oop, right, to set you up even Even better, because you did a heck of a job of scoring tonight, just adding value, right? But I want to set it up even better. I want to challenge everybody that is watching the Rashad Mills Show here on Awesome God Radio. If in fact that you don't have life insurance, or your life insurance was tied to your job and your financial situation has changed, I want to challenge you to give Andrea a call in the next 24 hours. Right? In the next 24 hours, I want to challenge you personally to give her a call and have her give you that free consultation and guide you along. And hopefully you can be the newest client, because I really think that, particularly in the African-American community, a lot of people are walking around without life insurance. Yeah. And that is an incredible burden to, go ahead, Andrea. I know you itching.
No, statistically, so prior to this, we just talk, hey, look, men lie, women lie,
but the numbers
don't lie. And so statistically, over 59% of the population only had coverage on the job. So
you mean more than half of the population?
More than half.
Wow.
And so that's a shift, because back in the 80s and the 70s, most people had coverage at home. But that tells you, one of the things that my awesome mentor Lisa says all the time, which is so profound, is that people base their life, and somebody hit this earlier about residual income, they base their life on rented income, meaning you don't own that space you work at, but we are conditioned to say stuff like my job, my cubicle, my stapler, my pen, my this, and we don't own that job. And your rented income, this is why you know it's rented, because anything that you rent can be taken away. If you rent a house, somebody can decide who owns the house that they're no longer going to rent it out, and they can take it away from you. If you rent a car and you finance a car, miss about 4 of them payments, they gonna come get that car back. And again, the thing is, but you have a rented income, something that you don't own. But she talks about how people will go into a 30-year fixed mortgage on a rented income that they don't own. So you need to put something in place that I own. How do I control my income coming in? And I know people I saw somebody post something like, I'm like, my God, you are missing it. So this is really where millionaires are born. The opportunities, people are going to think of ideas and different things, and wealth comes out of a time like this, because opportunity is seen by those who have eyes to see. Those who don't have eyes to see will continue to make, excuses. As so the post that I saw that broke my heart was somebody was like, well, everybody don't need to see the opportunity right now. You just need to be worried about your family and friends. No. This too shall pass.
Absolutely.
Like everything else. And so, and after that, did you miss the chance to create some residual income? Did you miss a chance that God sent a message and said, this is the time that you're supposed to start XYZ? And you missed it because you was tuned into the ABC and CBS and NBC. This is the time. What's that thing that God put in your heart? I was talking to my daughter the other day. She started getting in her head. And so my daughter is a praise dancer. And I said, if you got to go outside and dance in circles, you go praise God the way he blessed you to be able to praise God. Don't you get in your head and start thinking like, oh, this is what is going to happen, because she's home from college and life is kind of different. And I'm like, girl, you better go use the gift God gave you and figure out how to make money from it. And so it's just the time is now. So it's no more time for making excuses, because we're out of that time. You're absolutely right. No one knows if I have, I'm clearing my throat and all of a sudden I got an itchy throat, and I call a doctor and they tell me that I have, coronavirus. And that, do you understand that they're also looking at, I saw an article about the big these big name companies that offer life insurance. Northwestern, I know, was one, Transamerica. These companies, they're looking at, whether or not we're going to cover people who have this virus, because their chance of dying. See, you get it when you're healthy, not when you're sick. It's a risk. And so, you're taking the risk that I won't die. And so I don't want to die. Or, and the company's taking the risk. The other way around. You're taking the risk because you want the payout for your family that I may die. The company hoping you don't. Like, I'll pay out this money. But if it happens, you better be in a position. Because that thing is so passionate to me, because I've had the displeasure of having to deliver death claims. And sometimes they get delivered in a way that it increases the income of the person because they had the adequate protection in place. And sometimes it doesn't. And because all they did, what they could afford was the $25,000 or the $10,000 or whatever, for their own reasons. Because it wasn't that they couldn't afford it; they just chose to do other things with their money, and it hurts. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not a good space to be in. So take the time, get a complimentary quote, get a complimentary appointment. Just find out where you are. It's probably cheaper than what you think, and it's definitely better than having nothing.
Absolutely. So, Tawanda Shaw, thank you so much for tuning into the Rashad Mills Show here on Awesome God Radio via Facebook Live and StreamYard, this new platform. She says you are killing it, RVP. I'm guessing that's Regional Vice President. So the prez is in the building. Nicole Tolliver, I think I know her pretty well. She said you're dropping some financial knowledge this evening. Yes, indeed you are. So Tawana says, yes, Andrea says rental income can be taken away. Preach. And Darlene chimes in and says there's so many GoFundMe pages for funerals and people pay so much in rentals. So that goes along the lines of what you were talking about, this GoFundMe. So I think it's only appropriate that you provide us with further education as it relates to whole life versus term insurance. I want to shift you there right now to give people more information regarding those two.
Okay. And so there's only two types. There's cash value, and then there's term. And so what I tell people is, when it comes to cash value, you'll hear people call it whole life, permanent, universal, variable, universal variable, equity index universal. It goes on for forever. But the first thing you need to ask yourself is, why do you keep changing the name? Because consumers get savvy, so then you change the name. At the end of the day, this is the basis of how it works. So if you have a cash value policy, you pay a premium. That premium goes towards the coverage amount, but also towards a cash account. Front end doesn't sound so bad. Taking my money and you're going to save some of it and you're going to give me some insurance. Okay, again, big print give us, small print take it away. Here go the small print. So your money accumulates slowly. It can take anywhere from 2 to 7 years for your cash to start accumulating. So now you got to ask yourself, if I'm paying this premium every month, well, where the heck is my cash going? Can we say fees? These policies are laden with fees. So that should piss people off right there. I'm paying this money and it ain't even showing up nowhere. I ain't even got it to get. But let's say I keep it and I got it for 15 years. If that didn't piss you off, this really should piss you off. The only way you can get your money, the money you put in, is to take it out in a loan. So let me get straight.
I'm taking a loan on my own money.
Exactly. It's the equivalent of me going to the bank. I'm going to go to the bank and give them $1, go back tomorrow to get my $1, and they're going to tell me I got to pay them 6 to 8% on my $1 that I just gave them. It's the same premise. So you're going to give this company your money, and then they tell you that for you to get your money, you got to take a loan out? That don't even make no sense. And so, but we're going to take the loan out because I don't got to qualify for it. What? So then if you die, your beneficiaries have to choose between the death benefit and the cash value. You know why? Because you never really own both. And so I know I probably got some other agents out there that market it, so they be like, nah. Oh, so let's be clear. Anytime you get both, it's because there's a separate rider that you're paying for. So you're going to pay for extra to get both your cash value and to get your death benefit. That's crazy. And so when you look back and you see, I'm gonna get paid out 3 to 4%, or depending on where my money at. People who have, variable universal or equity index universal, those policies are based on what's going on in the market. First 3 months of the year, even into this month, the market is down. So the value on your policy is down. You should never tie those two things together. You do not tie investments and insurance together. You do not, people can ask themselves, hey, do you have a cash account with your car insurance, with your home insurance, with your renter's insurance, with your phone insurance? You don't have no cash account with that. You just have the insurance. So they should be separate. So in a term space, that's pure protection. It's a term of time. It covers you for a term of time. And then when you pass away in that term, then the money pays out. There's no connection of cash. But I teach people how to buy term because it's cheaper and invest the difference. We separate the investments and the cash. They are not tied together. So if you've been putting money away for 5 days and you need to get the money back out, then you go get your money back out. And so they're not stuck together. So that means if I pass away, my beneficiaries get this amount of money because this is the coverage amount. But if I live too long and now I'm 60, 70 years old, I need to have cash. I need to have money in retirement. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to show people how to accumulate wealth. Why? Because wealthy people don't have a bunch of life insurance policies. Wealthy people stroke checks. So if I can show you how to eliminate the need for life insurance because I built up my wealth, because understand this, 25 years, 30 years from the space we in, 20 years from the space we in, your life is different. The
Absolutely.
things that you need insurance for aren't the same. Your children are grown, your mortgage is paid off, your debt is lower, there's nobody, necessarily dependent on your income. You should have an income stream in place. So you don't need insurance for your whole life. You just need it while you need it. Just like car insurance. You need car insurance when you got a car. And so while you have that need that could happen and you're creating wealth, then you need to insure that wealth by protecting your income. Mm. And so, and I absolutely 100%, I endorse term. I don't play with cash value policies. It's too many ins and outs. It's too many fees. There's class action lawsuits on that trash. It's crazy. But you know why we get it, Rashad? Because that's what Grandma and them said get. Grandma and them said get the kind that you can take out a loan. Instead of saying, and this is why being a money coach, having an opportunity to educate is so near and dear to my heart. No, build your wealth so that you don't have to take out a bunch of loans. Because the Word of God says, this is God Radio, mm-hmm. The Word of God says, owe no man nothing but the love of God.
Mm-hmm.
So grandma and them will act like they the holy roller, but they the one telling you to, no, man, you don't have that trash because that trash will get you caught up in hypotheticals and illustrations that are not true. Mm. But if you have term protection, it's period protection for a period of time, it pays out. Let's fix that when the period of time is over, you're in a better space financially.
I love that, and it's so important that we have life insurance, right? Monica chimes in, and she says there are over 2 million, close to 3 million GoFundMe asking for money for funerals. That's like mind-blowing to me.
Yep. I teach a Monday night class, I teach a stewardship class on Monday nights, and that's one of the things that we looked at last night. So when she said it, I was like 2.7 million. Because we pulled it up to see how many people across this world, it's not a country, it's the world, are looking for help with funeral costs. It's terrible.
So here's one of the things, and Kim Neal, thank you so much for tuning into the Rashad Mills Show. Kamoy Martin, thank you so much for tuning into the Rashad Mills Show here on Awesome God Radio. Got the Facebook live feed working, also on StreamYard, this new platform, talking to Andrea Jackson, the money coach. Andrea, when we talk about life insurance, I want you to give us an illustration that a policy can cost as much as what? I don't want you to...
Are you talking about the least or I won't talk about the high because it just really...
Right, the least amount. So I want you to compare it to something that somebody may invest in naturally every month that's not necessarily a need, but it's more like a want. Because I want you to really put it in the simplest form possible for people so they understand. For a lot of people says I can't afford life insurance, but yet they invest in XYZ.
So that amount you pay for cable every month, that's $200 and above, you could probably, depending on your age, have $1 million in coverage. Not that you need it, but folks do not hesitate to pay. I sit down with families, they're paying $250, $300 on a cable bill. I have no idea why people still have cable. You can stream. There's so many different things you can do to bring movies and television shows into your house. So I don't know why people still have cable, but they get stuck and they're paying $250, $300 a month. So that's one space and it doesn't cost anywhere near that. But most of my clients that run between the ages, of anywhere from 35 to 55, you're looking at a family of 4 that, I'm talking about the husband, the wife, and the kids having, a comparable amount of coverage. For the entire family to be covered is less than $100.
Wow. So Lisa Jones just chimed in.
How much coverage you're getting? And I'm sorry,
I just cut you off. Lisa Jones just chimed in. Cell phone bills, absolutely. My sister Nana chimed in. For some people, it's nails and eyelashes. I mean, we're talking about these realistic things.
Hair. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I did not know people spent the amount of money they spent on weaves. I just be like, you spending how much? And so you got to buy the hair and you got to pay the technician. And I'm talking about upwards of $300
Absolutely.
every 3-4 weeks.
So one of the interesting things, Andrea, is about this place that we are as a whole society, right? I'm not talking just the DMV. I'm talking the entire world. I think it's caused a lot of us, myself included, to really step back and say, God is allowing me to live a really good life on not as much as I thought I needed. So when we talk about what you think that you need, but you really don't, we got to look at our finances. So when Nana said that, hair and nails and things of that nature, listen, we're not going out, evidenced by my hair. I haven't been to the barbershop, right? But I am just fine. And it really speaks to the level of the things that we thought that we needed, but in actuality, we really don't. So going back to maybe 5 or 10 minutes ago, when you were giving us information as it relates to a budget, now that I don't have to worry about that haircut expense or whatever it looks like, right? The latest bow tie. Now I'm taking that, from that expense category, and that's something that I can potentially save and then ultimately invest. So I think that was a great point for people tuning in, just to understand that we waste so much money, but yet a lot of us, unfortunately, I'm gonna call a spade and shoot from the hip, or even as my young people say, I'm gonna keep it 100. It's people right now watching the Rashad Mills Show on Facebook Live that don't have life insurance.
Yeah.
And again, I want to really put a challenge into everybody right now. You heard with the money coach, Andrea Jackson, has been educating us the last 50 minutes, approaching an hour. I mean, literally pouring out her heart. Give her a call, 301-633-8688. I mean, give her a call. Why not? A free consultation. So if in fact you need the help, she's the young lady that can provide it for you and guide you in the right place. So, you talked about, I think it was every 10 years. So maybe in 2030, if a situation like this arises in your life, you are in a much better financial space because you just reached out and made that phone call.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If we even, like I said, Rashad, if we remove what's going on right now, it still doesn't change the need for it. Most people are not. 95% of the people in this country retire broke. And so that means that they're not in position. I don't care what position they think they're in. Earlier in the show, the young lady mentioned the people that may not be, eligible for the stimulus package. And so it maxes out on income at a certain point. But let me tell you one of the tragedies that happens in this area. People live off their gross. So what do I mean by that? The job tells you, I have a lot of government clients, and I have to bring them back to reality sometimes. The job tells them that they make $150,000 a year. They then told themselves that's what they bring home. They don't look at their net. I can prove it. Because if somebody said how much you make, they'd be like, I make $150,000. Well, last time you looked in your bank account, it was dropping probably about $7,000 a month. Well, 7 times 12 is 94. But if you live in like you make $13,000, $14,000 a month, but you really make $7,000, $8,000 a month, this is when you see things out of. This is when you go get the $1 million house that you can't afford. This is when you pushing. You can't tell me. I'm in Prince George's County. That's where I live. And I swear, at some point, I was like, Maseratis must be on sale. Because everybody in their mother got a Maserati. It used to be a luxury car. I'm like, are they giving them away? But we went through that with Bentleys. We went through that. See, you have the look, but when I look at your assets, it don't look the same. It don't. And so why do I say that? Because if you don't stop pretending, and so when people say I don't qualify, that's because they're looking at their gross. But what they did was they said, which I thought was, very benevolent of them. They're basing it on your AGI. So your AGI is your adjusted gross income. So that is not what that's closer to probably a little closer to what you bring home, but not exactly because they ain't backed the taxes out yet. But they did get to a position that they try to come up with a formula so that most people can get a paycheck. But I'm just warning folks, if you don't get rid of that mentality that live off what you really make.
Let me just cut you off right there because we're approaching the end of the show. But I want to get to everybody just to let them know I truly can appreciate everybody on this Tuesday evening. So Darlene said everyone is going to go natural and show all of our beauty. We are beautifully and wonderfully made by God. Absolutely. That's a great point. So here's one for you. And I'm glad that Lisa chimed in with this point. So Lisa said, I make $30K a month, but I live like I make 13K.
Below yes. Go.
Right?
High five.
Yeah. A virtual high five, right?
Absolutely.
So
it's some concepts that we was taught early on.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, them also told you to live below your means.
So I like that so much. I had to cut you off. I like that so much because people can see that it's actually real. And if you don't know who Lisa Jones is, that's another 2-hour show in itself. But I think for somebody to as successful as Lisa Jones, to let everybody know that, you know, Lisa's blessed, right? But she's living.
She's not lying.
Yeah, but she's living. She's living. Go ahead. Yeah. So living well beneath her means, and I think that's so important that, you know, she's not out sort of balling on the budget, right?
Yes.
And I think people need to see that, because so many times when we hear that, we don't equate that to somebody with we know, right? All the rich people I know, they have Bentleys and Ferraris and all of this. Like, I mean, Lisa has been blessed, right? She's earned it, and she's earned the right to say, hey, you know, I do make this amount, but I'm actually living like this. And I think, again, it's so important for somebody, even if you don't know, if you're just watching the show and you say, wow, that's somebody I can connect with in some form or fashion. Because I think we need to have a different personal relationship with money. I think that's huge in our community. Yeah, that's absolutely huge.
We have to stop being scared of it. We got to respect it. So you hear stuff like The Millionaire Next Door. You know, one of the people that I do admire that's a billionaire is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett still lives in a house that he bought in 52.
Mm-hmm.
He drives a Lincoln. He don't ball out. One of my business partners said this yesterday. It was so key. He said there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. Rich is a state of being. You can hit the lottery and be rich for a day. Wealthy is a mindset. And so when you have a wealthy mindset, you preserve. One of the things that I've always admired about Lisa, if we go out, like, she do have money, but we would go places and she be like, let me see that. She gonna make sure they don't overcharge her, that there's not extra things on her bills. With people who try to ball out, be like, whatever, I got it. No, those who they respect money and have a wealthy mindset, they want to know where every dollar is being spent. Because you have to be mindful of how you look at money, how you respect money, and how you use it, because it is there as a resource, not our source, but God did give it to us as a resource. And so it's a wonderful one.
I think that's a perfect way to end. I want to get to these last comments. Tiffany, thank you so much for tuning in to the Rashad Mills Show. Lisa says, I drive a paid off 2012 Lexus. True wealth starts in the mind. And I think that's a perfect segue. That is the book that Lisa Jones is a part of. True wealth starts in the mind. That is on Amazon. Go to Amazon right now. We don't have enough time for that to actually get into that. The dynamics of wealth really starting as a mental thing, not as a tangible piece of paper. But true wealth starts in the mind. Go to Amazon right now under the name of Lisa Jones to get your copy of that. I think it would just bless your entire life. Again, before we conclude, I got to do it once again. The alley-oop, Andrea Jackson, your money coach, 301-633-8688. I'm giving it to you again. If you missed it, it is in the chat. 301-633-8688. She did everything that she could do tonight, guys, to help us all out in terms of understanding money, right? Really giving us a better understanding of money, but yet going beyond what's the call of duty for her and extending herself for a free consultation. So the very last time, I'm going to give you the number. I can do my part, but you literally, I feel like I sound like a car salesman. You got to pick up the phone and call 301-633-8688. Andrea Jackson, your money coach, my money coach. And I can say that from a personal level because she has guided me over the last few years. And I'll just disclose for 1 second. She's really helped me in terms of saving some money because I was in a dark space where I needed that. I needed that money. If you want the story about that, go to RashadMills.com and get the book. So you know why I needed some cash in her. And luckily, I was in a position that I was saving some money. So Andrea, I'm going to give you the final word. And I don't know if the broadcast has ended or it's ended. Yeah. Anyway, we're on Facebook Live. People can hear you. Doesn't matter. I want to give you the final words to just speak to everybody tonight.
All right. So the final thing I'm going to say, hey, understand this. We dropped some information tonight, but knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. one of the things about this information age is there's no shortage of information. You can get all the information you can, but if you never apply it to your life, then it's nothing but information. It moves from information, it moves from knowledge to power when you apply it, and it moves from power to wisdom when you actually be able to share it with other people and bless them with it as well, because it blessed you. So I encourage everybody, get into a position, get into a space where it's not just more information that you heard, that you collected, that you know, but it's actually something that you did something with.
Andrea Jackson, I appreciate you so much again. Like I shared, privately, in the text message, you always add value. Being on the Rashad Mills Show, you truly do. And just by looking at the numbers in the comments, people were definitely blessed by the information that you gave. So I truly hope that somebody reaches out to you and makes the connection so we can all get to a much better place. So thank you so much again for tuning in to the Rashad Mills Show here on Awesome God Radio. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. Lisa, just love you and everything that you do and be incredibly supportive of me. So just shout out to Lisa Jones, but shout out to everybody. I truly, truly appreciate you. So I'll be back next week on the Rashad Mills Show here on Awesome God Radio and StreamYard, which is the new platform. So thank you so much. Aisha Mentor, thank you for tuning in. Andrea, I love you guys madly. And I'm out, so I got to...
Yeah, from the kitchen table, bro.
Right at the dining room table.
On the dining room table.
Yeah. Leonard, thank you so much, my good brother, for tuning in to the Rashad Mills Show here on Awesome God Radio. So the information is in there. Darlene, thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate you. So thank you so much. And that's it. That was a great show.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. You're such a blessing. I'm excited about where your life is going in the next chapter. Can't wait for the next book.
Oh, it's coming out. I'll give everybody a sneak peek. Lenny, don't hang up. Anybody watching the Rashad Mills Show?
Like what we do?
I don't know if it's hung up. Actually, speaking of the book, I want to give people just a sneak preview. Still working, right? Still working in the midst of it. So I am going to drop a new book. I'm dropping a new book. I thought I had so much time with the coronavirus, this pandemic, that I wanted to do something new and creative. I'm going to drop a book. Stay tuned for the release date. It will be called The Invisible Wedding. I'm just going to give you the title, not even going to give you the subtitle, The Invisible Wedding. And I'm out.